Washington Times front page for Monday, October 3rd, 2022. Thanks for starting your week with us. I'm George Gerbo. The escalating competition between the U.S. and China for advanced technology has spread to the metaverse, where the two global powers are fixated on Great Britain-based company Hedin. Ryan Lovelace reports Hedin has plans to create the infrastructure needed to build digital worlds. The company said in July it was making a multidimensional land warfare simulator for the British Army. The company's work lured funding from the U.S. intelligence community and attracted China-based tech titan Tencent. The Senate Intelligence Committee learned of the plan and privately pressed the intelligence community about its investment and about Hedin's efforts to raise cash from other sources, according to a spokesperson for Florida Senator Marco Rubio. Parental backlash over pandemic school closings and mask mandates has kept education at the forefront in the midterm elections this year, even though it's always not at the top of the polls. It's been nearly a year since Glenn Youngkin seized on parental fury over shuttered schools in Virginia to help him win an improbable victory over Democrat Terry McAuliffe to become governor. 10 months later, Susan Ferricchio reports, many parents remain angry about K-12 public education, and it's factoring into decisions they will make at the ballot box. In key races across the country, Republicans hope to replicate Youngkin's winning strategy by aiming their campaign messaging at frustrated parents. Speaking of the midterms, an increasing number of police are pushing back against difficult work environments in a way they never expected by walking off the job to run for elected office. More than 100 current or former police officers are on ballots this year for federal, state, and local offices, Jeff Murdoch reports. Nearly all are running as Republicans. The officers have largely paralleled the GOP's broader strategy of labeling Democrats as soft on crime. Republicans think the argument will win them control of the House and the Senate. You can read all of these stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page. You can also find the entire lineup of news, sports, and commentary podcasts at WashingtonTimes.com/podcasts. Clarence Thomas has been on the Supreme Court for more than 3 decades, and his judicial philosophy of originalism is now controlling big rulings. Alex Sawyer and Stephen Dinan report he'll take the bench this week for the start of the 2022-2023 term after his most influential year on the court. He led colleagues in the assertion of Second Amendment rights while removing national abortion rights and overturning Roe v. Wade. During the past term, Thomas wrote 8 opinions in which he concurred with the outcome, but wanted to make particular points, including the abortion ruling. He had the highest concurrence rate on the court in its last term. And finally, the top 2 candidates in Brazil's presidential election, leftist former President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva and right-wing incumbent Jair Bolsonaro, are headed for a runoff after neither won Sunday's crowded contest outright. With 98.8% of votes counted, Mike Glenn reports da Silva had 48.1%, ahead of Bolsonaro with 43.5%, according to Brazil's electoral authority. The 2 frontrunners will face off in a second round of voting if neither reaches the 50% plateau. The election is widely considered the most important in years. It's a crucial moment for Brazil, which has been racked by rising fuel prices and an economic slowdown. If returned to office, Bolsonaro said he'll continue privatizing public companies and increasing mining opportunities. Da Silva, who was president of Brazil from 2003 to 2010, promised to raise taxes on the wealthy and bring back environmental regulations that Bolsonaro's administration has relaxed. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Washington Times in your favorite podcast app. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.